Skill Builder 25 time here. This is Cheech. Skill Builder 25 means there are 24 weeks worth of other skills you can watch. This week we're going to talk about, and I will read to you, when to use a split loop versus a dubbing loop. That's pretty killer. Peacock in a dubbing loop, and finally we're going to show you how to build dubbing brushes for streamers. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, that's a big brown throw.
Okay, we're going to settle a debate here. Do you use a split thread loop or a dubbing loop when you're tying flies? The answer is yes to both, sometimes. Okay, so I'm going to show you a normal dubbing loop. So let's say that I'm going to create my dubbing loop. I'm going to close it off and get it ready to tie. So that's advantage split thread loop because it takes more time to build it, but as you saw, it only takes about 10 seconds. So if you'd like to save 10 seconds out of your day so you can eat more nachos and Starburst, whatever Brig eats for dinner every day, you can not do dubbing loops. Anyway, so a little bit of time to set it up. So let's say I'm going to put some things in here. Disadvantage number 2 for a dubbing loop is that it's bulkier. So I have 2 strands of thread. That might not be very good for a small fly. But a big advantage of a dubbing loop, in my opinion, is they twist up a lot faster, especially with these smaller dubbing twisters. You know, these bobbins you can twist pretty well, but nothing as fast as this. So it dubs up really quickly. All right, so let's wrap this forward. I'll show you another advantage that the dubbing loop has over the split thread. Now let's say that I only wanted that much of the dubbing on my hook. If I use a split thread technique, I have to put whatever is in that split thread technique in the hook. With the dubbing loop, I can just come up here, I can wrap it off, I trim the excess, and boom, I'm back to tying, okay? So that's pretty much advantages, disadvantages of a dubbing loop. Okay, so again, like I said, if you're using a split thread technique, a lot of times it's a bulk thing. Okay, so let's say that we wanted to do split thread here. I'm going to kind of unwind my thread. This tool makes it so much better. This tool has actually made me start to think of ways to use split thread in my flies a lot more, because it used to be you'd have to have a Stonfo tool that poke a hole through it. I know there's some older, European discontinued tools that kind of do the same thing, but this thing is amazing. So all I'm going to do is rub rub it on my thread like this, angle it slightly, and there's a little catch on the end of this that pops your thread wide open. So, as far as ease of splitting thread, that used to be a big, negative for me. And now, because it's so easy, it's totally doable. So there you go. It used to be a downside. Now I'd say maybe it's 6s, or it's a bit faster. All right. So I'm going to take some CDC. I'll prep it. In it goes. Right. So when I'm building a fly with a split thread loop, I need to be really sure that I'm putting the right amount of material in this, because like I said before, all of this needs to end up on the fly. So I think this is a pretty good length of CDC. And honestly, it only takes a few flies of you screwing up to realize you got to use less materials the next time. So learn it the hard way. That's fine with me too. Let's see, I'm going to split this, and you can grab it. Like, the reason I keep doing it is because you can split the thread like right at the edge or right in the middle, or whatever. So got a good middle point here. I'm going to take that CDC and just kind of run that up here, let go, and twist it up. So one other downside to split thread is after you finish wrapping it. So I've got my thread spun up really good. Here's a little hack. All this thread down here is spinning up too, and if I pull it, it's going to make the thread even spin more. So if I give it a little pull, it will kind of twist. You can see how the CDC wants to twist. So giving a little tension makes it twist up a little bit more. All right, so let's say I'm going to wrap this up. Looks cool, super durable, no bulk. That's really cool. But now this amount of my thread is super twisted up and corded. So you got to make sure that you unwind that before you do other things, unless you want it corded up. And what I do is I just kind of unwind it to the point where if I let my bobbin hang, it will kind of hang mostly straight. It's kind of wanting to unwind a little bit, but that's perfect for me, especially if the next step is a whip finish. If you try to whip finish your thread when it's all twisted up, it's very likely to break. So anyway, there you have it. Some ideas of when to use split thread, when to use dubbing loops. I think that they're both absolutely needed at the vise. One doesn't do everything the other one does. So start playing with it. Find a way to comfortably split the thread and mess with it at your vise. Okay, we're working with Peacock here, and I'm going to show you a real cool way to make a durable Peacock body. It's kind of a pain in the butt. It took me a while to really figure out the best way to do this, but I'll show you what I learned. All right, so I just farmed out like 3 of these Peacock Herls. See them? And as you can see, one of them is way longer than the others. This is like Brig, Cheech, and Cade. Wait, Cade's taller than that. Okay, so there you have Brig, Cheech, and Cade, and we all need to kind of be more the same size. So unfortunately, who gets sacrificed? Always the tall one. He gone. All right, so I aligned my Peacock Herl, and I am tying it in by the tip. The reason why I like to tie it in by the tip when I'm wrapping up a corded body is that the stem's much more pliable right here, and that's a part where it will break if you twist it up too much. And the idea here is we're going to make a loop out of our thread, and somehow we're going to attach this Peacock Herl down here and twist it all up. And it's important to make your dubbing loop short enough that you can still grab these fibers. The other thing is, if you lay these Peacock Herls directly in line with your thread so they're equal lengths, when you twist that up, the Peacock Herl will break off, and I might actually accidentally do that when I'm tying this. So you need to leave a little bit of slack in your Peacock Herl, about like that. So my dubbing loop needs to be about that long. Okay? So I'm going to put my tool here, and then I'm using this Smayan tool that has a little clamp. So I just clamp this Peacock Herl inside of this, and usually I like to rest my finger here. You know, I'm still going to do it. It'll still work. All right, so we're twisting that all up. As you can see, this top section wants to twist a lot more than the bottom section. So we can just come in here with our fingers and kind of loosen it up and tighten as we see fit. Don't over twist it because it will break. But now we're looking at a pretty dang good cord of Peacock Herl. You can still see some of the orange thread through it, but that's just because I used orange thread. Usually you'd use like black or something. But at this point, I can wrap this stuff, and I'll just wrap that forward. And if you ever have issues with Peacock Herl not lasting and coming off your flies, let me tell you, this is the solution to that. All right, so I will get rid of that, and then I'll just kind of show you some of the durability. I'm not going to put a blade to it, but like if I'm, you know, rubbing the hard edge of my scissors over that, you know, it won't, like the thread's coming undone, but the peacock is actually just flaking off the thread in that loop every time I'm rubbing this by it. So as you can see, it's in there. It's super, super durable. It's not going to break. Kind of a pain in the butt, but once you get used to this technique, you might use it on everything that uses Peacock. This is a dubbing brush building table that we kind of designed over a few years. These have been kind of a pain in the butt to get in and keep in stock. That's why we wanted to show it to you. It's not that hard to build yourself. But anyway, I'm going to show you some general ideas on building dubbing brushes, especially like the streamer size brush, because frankly, if you're going to build just like an ice dub brush or a little dubbing brush of any old trout dubbing, it's really not that difficult. This takes a little bit more work. So we'll show you a few of the things. So just to kind of break this down, the way that I designed this one is you've got a rotating part here. Some of them are built with springs, but springs are expensive. I was trying to keep costs down. So this one doesn't have a spring, okay? I have a little pin on this side, and I'll show you what that's used for. I have a spot to put my dubbing brush wire. And the coolest part of this is the table is magnetic. When I lift it up, it stays in place, and it's critical that I can just kind of pop this down and it will fold down when I need it to. All right, so there you have the breakdown of the table. We have it zoomed to this angle to give you the maximum amount of pleasure while watching this. Well, Brigham, people are gonna like this, okay? Moving on. All right, focus. All right, so here I have craft fur. This is kind of my favorite way to build a brush, and this is maybe the most difficult, so we'll just use craft fur. I don't even know what colors they are, but I know they're gonna show up pretty well on the old video screen. But before we do anything, we're gonna take some wire. Now this is stainless steel wire. Semperfli makes some. Who else makes it? Uni has some, but if you just use your normal, zebra midge wire, these loops or these dubbing brushes are not going to be very durable. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to come up here and I'm just going to make a little simple twisty thinger right here. We're not even going to make it look that pretty for you, even though it's a vidya. But what I will do is that little thing could spin around, and they are sharp, so I'm going to get rid of that. And then I'm going to run this across onto this piece, and I'm going to do one turn around the wire, okay? So when I raise that up, the wire sits perfectly in the little recess, and it allows me to build my brush on a flat surface, and the wire won't even pull that up. All right, so we're going to get rid of our wire for now. I'm going to put it back in the cap, and I'm going to put it down in this little spot. All right, so time to build our brush. What I'm going to do here is, you can see I've kind of got some clumps going from before, but I'm just going to angle my scissors, put them right down by the craft fur, and cut into it. As you can see, I just took off the rest of that layer. So I'm going to get my craft fur, and I'm going to brush out some of the under junk that doesn't spin up super well. And I'm going to take this, and I'm just going to lay this on the table. Okay? Speed it up. I'm just going with the rough sort here. You can really get technical here. All right, so there you have it. I'm going to just build some more across. We'll build a full brush for you. Okay, we're to the point now where we can go to the next step. As you can see, it's roughly the right length here. That's not going to matter a ton. There may be some that comes out when I wrap it up, but that's kind of to be expected. And now, if you want flash in this is the time where you'd lay down some flash. So I have some really cool purple ice dub. I don't have the corner cut off, but as you can see, I'm still pulling it through the bags. When they come out, they're all just like almost perfect. And we'll just kind of just put some flash on there. Try not to screw it up too much. All right, so you guys get the picture. Again, you can really spend a lot of time dialing this in. Okay, so you have a little bit of core accent color. Okay, now, do not blow, do not turn a fan on, do not sneeze. Don't do any of that crap, because it will ruin this and you'll be really mad. Okay, that's a hint to Brigham. He usually is the one who does it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take my wire and get a rough estimate for how long it should be, okay? So I'm going to cut it right here, take my wire, put it back. All right. So now I know this wire is going to go over the top. That's why it's important to put this little jog in your wire up here so it won't unravel when you do this. So this is just some touch dub wax. This will just make it a little bit more durable. So I'm just going to go to about right here. This actually isn't a super critical step. It just kind of holds stuff in the way. Can you hear it? Can you see it? Okay. I barely put any wax on that. So I was just going like this. Sorry, I was holding it out of the way. Boom, 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 boom. Now, you can see it already touched the dubbing and it's trying to pull it off the table. So that's what this stuff does. So it's really not super tacky. It just grabs stuff. So I'm going to pull this down and I'm going to push it down and I'm going to, oh, don't fall down. I'm going to pinch it with my thumb, okay? Because I'm going to go down through this hole. Okay, perfect. And I'm just going to wrap this around here like 2 or 3 times and cut a little bit of a tack. All right, so this thing is ready to be wrapped, all right? So at this point, I have a drill. This is all like, everybody's gonna come up with better tools than this. I already know, do it. This is simple, but it works. But this is what we're gonna do now. I'm actually gonna move the table so that you can see this, all right? So I have this little pin. There's a little pin here that I'm going to pull out now. And the reason why I wanted this pin here is because if this slides in too far this way, when we twist this up, the wire's going to get shorter and it's going to want to pull the pin this way. So I need there to be a bunch of it staying out here. It gives me enough leeway to twist up the wire. And so this little pin here is designed to just kind of hold that out of the way. So pull that pin out and now we're ready to twist. I'll just leave the pin out from this point. And I'm just going to take my drill in here and I'm just going to twist it up. I'm going to pull back with a little bit of tension and I'm going to start, twisting it a little bit as I pull it tighter, Cheech. As I pull the table out. Okay, now you can see I'm twisted up all the way to the other side of the table, and I'm going to take my drill off for just 1 second, okay? Because this looks really bad, okay? Really, really bad, and it's not. It's not a problem at all. We're going to pick this out just a little bit. You can't put a lot of pressure into this right now because it will all just fall out, okay? So once we have it picked out just a little bit, we're going to come in here and twist it some more. Okay, now we've got a lot of purchase on this, and I can bring out my slicker brush, looks like a dog brush, and I'm going to give it a little bit of a clean. Okay, Brigham's shaking his head because his mind's blown right now. Mine's freaking blown. He's like, I could do lots of streamers with that.
Straight up.
Goodness gracious, I could
But
probably.
you could taper that too,
Could you
right?
bro? You could take it and do
Am I
like.
right? You could
Yeah, you could taper it. You could even do it in thin mint colors. Brigham. All right, so that's not even done. We're not done yet. We're gonna twist it up some more now. Oh, come on. Someone's got to hook me up with a better tool. We actually broke this ring just like that. We broke that because this is too tight. This is no, watch. I have a hack. I got it. All right. So, we're pretty twisted up. Again, I'm going to brush it. As you can see, I could have spread out this ice stub a little bit more, but we're still not close to being twisted up all the way. But if you come through here with this brush, you can get it picked out all the way down to the core, which is critical when you're putting it on a fly. Screw this, I'm just going to go straight in with it. No more yada yada with this. Sorry. All right. Oh, baby. All right, so here we go. As you can see, this is starting to move this way, and that's why it was critical that we had room back here. Okay, and as you can see, as I let tension off, it's not going to unwind because this wire is really, really strong. It's like guitar wire. So once it twists up, it's not going anywhere. So again, we're going to brush it out a little bit more. In we go with the drill again. Okay, now we're all the way to the edge. And that's about as twisted up as we're going to get. But as you can see, it blended the colors really nicely, except for these little few spots of flash. And, you know, you can see it's nice and sparse in the middle. So what you do here is you just take your cutters and you cut it off both sides. And there we have an awesome streamer brush. And this table is designed so that we have roughly, I don't know, a 5 to 7 inch diameter here. That we can put on this table and not bog down because we can flip this up and down. Anyway, this is how I like my dubbing brush tables set up, and this is how I like to build them. All right, so if you like these skill builder videos like this and you want to get better at tying, subscribe to our channel because these come out every single week, and we may even show you how to put this on a hook. Brigham can even do it. Wait, no, he can't. Cade can, right? Yeah, boy!